up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
All right, good evening and welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you 250 miles above your imagination from the International Fake Station. We're actually in the Shenandoah Valley, which has been struck hard by some fires. Although I want to introduce my communist Chinese friend. His name is Something Wong. He is here. He's my handler, actually. So I got Luca backstage. Luca, I'll bring you up in just a minute here. Really weird what happened yesterday. Wow. So we had there was these terrible winds, right? And it actually ripped the gate off of my deck, so I have to repair that. And so what had happened was I was like, oh shit, okay. So I was getting ready to watch something coming on live, so I thought, well, I better go up to the store, get everything I need. I headed up to the store. Winds were really bad. Gates already ripped off the thing. I get down to the store. They're without power. Luckily, I know what the total. I go in there all the time. I know what my total is. I just give them the total amount for what I need and able to go. And come back here to the house, and I'm like, oh, it's not just the store that's out of power. It's us too. Oh my gosh. Well, that's all right. So I start checking around on the internet, and which of course I had to do through my data on my phone because the Wi-Fi is down. Well, I find out that there's power outages and that it could take several hours, maybe days before power is back on. I'm like, holy crap. So then I'm just like walking around through here, and I look out the back window and I see these billows of smoke coming off the mountain, and I'm like, oh shit. So I told my neighbor down the street, I said, Danny, look out your back window. He says, oh my God, what's going on? Well, then we started getting the news of it. There's a fire over here. Another fire sprung up over here in the Massanutten Mountains, a whole bunch of fires over there. And then over here on the Blue Ridge, another one sparked up. Now, the weird thing is that a lot of these were being blamed on down power lines, but there's people finding fires starting where there's not even any power lines. They're just there. And now I'm not suggesting anything. It's just I'm thinking that sounds like arson, like maybe. But all I can say, it was really, really windy. The fires are not contained. Luca, what's going on, brother? We'll bring you up here for a second. I want to show you all some of these pictures. They're insane what we have going on here. And I'm going to, after the show tonight, hopefully Dawn DeSalt is going to join us. I sent her the link. Her and I are supposed to go on Jeranism with Ozian and FTFE Tuesday at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. So that should be pretty good. I'll give you more information on that as it comes about. But I was hoping maybe she could pop on here. I'm not going to do a real long stream tonight because I'm going to drive up and get some more, some pictures of this and some video, because this is really crazy. Look at this. And this is like all over this whole area is so full of smoke. I drove up today, went up to an area called Leaksville, which is a little district of the town I live in. And I drove up there and it was kind of get to some high ground and could see over at the Massanutten Mountain. And I'm telling you, man, what mountain? All I saw was a wall of smoke and smelled wood. But at night I should be able to get some flame to be able to see some flame. They've been evacuating people. A whole area known as Fort Valley's been evacuated. They're staging people up at the school for shelter at the high school. And I really feel bad for those people who are displaced by this. Well, Sean, the other day, about a week or two ago, maybe you might have, I might have posted about it. I don't remember if I did or not, but they were doing a controlled burn over there to prevent something like this from happening. Right. Okay. So that was all over with. So this here now it's not controlled at all. Highway 211 has been shut down, coming in and out of Luray from over the New Market Gap over the mountain there. So west of me is shut down. We can go east. We can get over the Thornton Gap. That's okay. But that fire's over in an area called Rocky Branch too, on the Blue Ridge side of the valley too. So it's really, really smoky here today. How you doing there, Luca? How are you tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, man.
How's everyone else doing?
Looks like everybody's doing okay. Like I said, well, not everybody doing okay. There's some, yeah. I mean, this was really something else. I mean, these wins we had yesterday were just freaking crazy, man. In fact, when I came back from the store, the power was out. There was nothing going. I didn't notice anything about fires or anything. So, in order to not drain my phone, I plugged it in out in my Jeep, and I was sitting in my Jeep in the carport watching Flatsoid Show, right? And I watched my porch light literally blow off of my patio, off of the eave of my patio. It just ripped it loose and threw it on the deck, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on, man? Should I even be out here?" And then I noticed the fires going on, and I thought, "Oh shit, here we go." So thankfully, we've only had a report of one Rockingham County firefighter being injured, and so let's hope that remains all, because these guys are doing a hell of a thing. It'd be a hard time to get me into that shit. I'll tell you. Whoa, would you go out there and fight those fires, Luca?
No. Probably not.
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Most of our firemen in this area are volunteer. See, like right here in my town, we don't have any professional fight. They're all volunteer. They're trained, but they're volunteer. And I've been on the job with guys that are volunteer firefighters, and you'll hear the meat whistle. That's what I call it. You'll hear the fire alarm go off in town, and these guys just drop what they're doing and they leave. They're gone. And they head out for whatever's happening. Much respect, man.
They're very, respect.
Much respect for these guys. Absolutely.
Much respect for the volunteer firefighters who are helping to save the towns.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to kind of touch on
people.
I'm sorry, what?
And most importantly, the people.
Yes. This is, and the animals, You know, a lot of these
That's true.
places up there in the mountain, a lot of these places are horse farms, cattle farms, things like that, alpaca farms. So it's not just getting people out of there. They have to grab up their livestock or their animals and stuff. And there's been really gracious people around that just said, yes, go ahead, bring them to our pasture. You can put them in our pasture. You know, they'll be safe here. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Did they use the fight fire with fire strategy?
Well, I don't know what they're actually using. I know that they were using earthworks and shit. They were running out of water, but they haven't done it. I think they did an airdrop of water last night that they dipped out of the Shenandoah River.
I think
and then I heard somebody reported that there was an osprey flew over earlier. So I don't know.
I've heard of the strategy where they burn the ground or scorch the ground ahead of the fire, so the fire can't actually move ahead of where they burned it.
Yes, yeah.
Burnt.
Yep, they do those little control burn things to do that. But see, that's the whole thing. Like about 2 weeks ago, they just did a control burn like that to prevent a fire just like what we're having right now. And this is bad. So far as I can tell, none of it's contained yet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it right now in the George Washington National Forest. And then, of course, over here to the just east of me, I sit right between two little mountain ranges. Well, not little, but I sit right between the Massanutten Mountain Range and the Blue Ridge Mountains, right? And so I'm kind of boxed in by these fires right now.
So it's been going on for a few hours now, huh?
Been going since yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they've been going since yesterday.
Okay.
I think there's some video of it. Let me see. Let me grab some video of it. This will maybe put it more into perspective for you. Perspective. That's going to be what we're. There we go.
Perspective, yeah.
A night watch. Let me see here. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, there's a aerial view of it from I think it's from WHSV News. God, this stuff's got to go way down here. All right, there's where the fire is spread to. Just a second. Yeah, a lot of information. There's a guy's got a Facebook on all the stuff that's going on in Page County. And I was just on it a few hours ago, and there's all kinds of stuff been added to it. Let me see if I can find it on. Maybe I sent that to Jaron too. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Oh, I know who I sent it to. I sent it to my son. Dun, dun, dun. Damn it. Here we go. Second, this is Fox 5. This was Fox 5 out of I think it's out of DC. Pretty sure it is. I don't watch TV a whole lot. Anyway.
Fox is following
wow. Honestly, I don't really watch the news either.
Look at
that.
Not really. I only learn about things
earlier
when
today.
I'm
The
told
administrator declaring a state of emergency because of this fire. This is the latest fire in our region today. Another brush fire earlier this evening in Prince William County was reported near Route 1 in the area of Joplin Road and Russell Road. There were also brush fires reported in Poolesville and Barnesville sections of Montgomery County.
So that's kind of a good little aerial view of what we got going on here. It has spread though, because I got reports a little while ago that it's over the other side of the mountain on the New Market side of the Massanutten Mountain now too. So it was just on this side of the mountain, but now it's crossed over the peak and it's on the other side. And that's all part of the George Washington National Forest up in there. And it's going to be, yeah. So that's bad. And there's a lot of farms and stuff over on the other side of that too, you know, just like on this side. So there, and then up over here in the Blue Ridge, we got the Rocky Branch fire going on too. So it's really, it's kind of scary for people. A little bit anyway. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I can imagine too.
But yeah, what I wanted to kind of go over tonight, some shit about perspective. Okay.
Okay.
Where people can understand like what your field, when I'm talking about a field of view. All right, this is exactly what I'm talking about right here.
Is it just your eyes?
Okay.
Your
Okay,
360?
so you see on the left-hand side, you have a top-down view of your head
Mm-hmm.
and a side view of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this little arc that you're seeing right here is like your standard line of sight, 62 degrees, right? From both eyes. And then it shows right here that your binocular vision is good up to about right here. Then you get symbol recognition a little bit further away, and then everything starts to get a little bit out of focus. But this is your field of view from left to right. And of course, you have that same field of view from the top down to the bottom. Okay. In fact, it's a little steeper to the bottom than it is up toward the top. But what happens, right, is as you're looking straight on along. Eventually, as the ground comes up, eventually as the ground comes up like this in your perspective, what's happening to this line right here? It's shortening. This one isn't obstructed. This one is. So once you get to where the horizon is right here, your eye line right here, just relative to your eye line, okay? It's just always going to be just like a little bit below your eye line. Right there. Then everything that you see that goes beyond that point, because the ground at that point stops rising up to meet the sky. Okay. Then anything going beyond on that plane, and I'm going to try to draw this out in a 2-dimensional thing here too. It's going to look kind of silly.
Is that the reason why things disappear bottom first?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So let me see all apps. Let me get down here to, I'm not as good with paint as Flatzoid is. I need to play with it a little bit more. So I'm gonna bring this back down, and I'm gonna share a screen with.
So the field of view is
right.
What did you
So
say?
if you can imagine, you're standing. Here's a little guy. Okay, I'm gonna just draw a little guy, just freehand a little guy. Okay.
I'll write this
and he's
down.
standing there. Okay. And
Imagine.
this right here is his line of sight. Okay, we're going to try to make that as good as we can right there. That's his line of sight. Okay, going straight on. And what he sees from his ground up is that the ground steadily rises up till it meets about right here to his eye line. Okay, now I'm going to change color just to show this. All right, so now as things are appearing to rise to the horizon, his field of view is still here to here. But what happens to this bottom line, see, is we start obstructing it to here. So now it's only from here to here, up here. And everything else is going to start just going away from him at that point. And as it does, because this field of view is obstructed by the horizon itself, the bottom part of this field of view here and here is being obstructed by here. So you can see the obstruction getting more and more as we get to the horizon. Then what happens is things go away. Of course, they're going to get smaller and smaller, or appear to get smaller and smaller and smaller. But then they're going to do that from the bottom up, because as they get smaller, you're getting more and more of your field of view is obstructed. See that?
That doesn't look right anymore.
So this is the only way I can show it in a 2 dimensions. So this line, this point right here, let me undo that. Just take those away.
And if that line stops,
right.
then they shouldn't be disappearing bottom up.
Right, yes, because they're going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller the further you get away, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they'll disappear bottom up.
Sure they will. Sure they will, because if you raise up, if this guy was able to raise up to here, if he was able to raise up to here,
they just keep on getting smaller until they disappear.
No, wait, no, from up here it would, until this same effect happened. You understand? Because this ground now would continue to come up, 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 up to eye level, and then it would start panning out flat at the limit of your vision right here. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it 2-dimensionally. But the thing is it's because this bottom portion of your field of view is being obstructed the further and further you go up this line, the further and further you go into the horizon or toward the horizon. You have to raise your eyes up to look at the horizon like that. So you're seeing the ground come up to, okay? So then what happens is as things go off, they start compressing. And as I showed with this illustration here, just a moment. Where's my picture? This guy. Right? You see how your binocular vision starts to fade out? Optimum eye rotation, okay? And then what happens is you start losing the ability to resolve things in comparison to one another as they get further and further away. Your binocular vision starts to not work in the way that it should, because everything starts. This is why, like, if I'm standing here in my hand, I can make it come closer to you. You see it change drastically, right? But if I move way back here and I do the same thing, you don't see as drastic of a change in the angular resolution.
Oh, yeah.
Parallax. It's you're seeing it start as it gets further and further away from you. It seems to go slower and slower, but it's not. It's the same thing as if you're passing a line of trees on the road and there's a mountain in the background. You're still going the same speed, but the further object's going to seem to go by slower than the closer objects.
Yeah.
It's the same effect. It's the same effect. Let me pull this up just to give you. Right here. So you see how all these lines are coming down your field of view. Now you see how you've got a full field of view through all the way through this whole picture right here, right?
Yeah.
But then as you get to, when you get to the horizon, right? Your field of view up here is not obstructed, but everything below this horizon line is obstructed as far as your field of view. It's blocked by the horizon itself. You've limited your field of view, cut it almost in half, so to speak. You almost cut it right in half. And so as something travels away, as it gets smaller, because of that fact, you're looking over right across the flat surface. And as it gets further, it's going to start losing resolution from the bottom up, because again, your field of view is obstructed by the horizon itself. If you raise up an elevation, you'll see the whole thing again with more horizon beyond it. And then once it were to go right into the horizon and start being obstructed, then you could rise up a little higher. And you rise up even higher and you'll see the horizon well beyond the object. And it'll keep going away, getting smaller with angular resolution.
I've seen the The photo where the train tracks appear to come together in the
Right, but they don't in
distance,
reality.
but they
you
don't.
see.
Yeah, that
Right,
it's all due to perspective.
right, exactly. Now, see, here's some things you have to really look at them, because sometimes at first you go, "Oh, isn't that neat?" But then you start dissecting it, and look what happens. You ever seen that before?
That
You thi-
seems like impossible
it
drawing.
is. It is an impossible drawing if you really look at it. But there it is. That's a good exemplification that just because something can be on paper or even written in math does not make it necessarily true. I mean, that thing looks like it's functioning, but when you really look at it, you're like, hey, wait a minute. What am I really seeing here? What in the world am I really looking at?
Yeah,
I used to, oh my God, I used to love optical illusions when I was a kid.
I've
I
seen
remember,
that. Yeah,
you
I've
remember when
seen.
you used to be able to order books like once a month, this little thing would come along and you could buy books. You could order different kinds of books through the school.
No.
Oh, we had that. It was pretty cool. I think it was a Scholastic Club or Scholastic Readers Club or something like that. But anyway, you could, you pay a certain amount. You could get as many books as you wanted to, too. And man, I found one on optical illusions and I was all over that thing. I couldn't wait for that thing to come, man. I was just geeked like crazy about that.
Like, is it the same? Is it a kind of a library?
Is it what?
Is
No,
it
you'd
kind of
get
like a
a
library?
there would be like this little booklet and the teacher would pass it out. Everybody got like one little booklet. It was like a little catalog. And they would come out once a month and they had certain books that were in there and they were in different categories. It was always different.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you just check off what you wanted. And then you go home and show your mom or dad what you wanted and they'd cut you a check or give you the money. And, you take it to school and hand that in to the teacher and they'd order it. And the next thing you know, your books had come. And that was really a cool day too, because when the new books came in, we got to stop doing whatever it was we were doing and got to get into our books, So that was a neat thing. But see, this boat right here is a good example of this, what I'm talking about. There. Okay, see, we can see horizon beyond the boat. It's not really on the horizon. But once this bottom of this boat gets in line with this limit that we see on this horizon, what's going to happen is this right here this part right here has cut your field of view from up here plus this here in the foreground to everything only up here and to the horizon. Your field of view used to be from the top of this picture all the way to the bottom of this picture. But now your field of view has been cut, and it's been cut from the bottom. It's been cut from the bottom, from this horizon to this top. So you've cut your field of view in half. Well, not in this picture, half, but you've cut off this portion right here of your field of view. This much from here all the way to the bottom of the picture is now gone in your field of view. It's now limited to this, to this. And so as something goes away from you, it's going to get smaller because it would get, if you didn't have the obstruction, it would get smaller equally, right? But because of the fact that your field of view is cut off, you're only going to see the top part of that change in perspective. You're only going to see that portion change in size because your field of view is blocked, again, as I said, from here all the way down. You're only going to see it get smaller from that portion up. So that's pretty much how your perspective. It doesn't mean you're going over a curve of the earth. It just means that your field of view is blocked. Because as I point out, as if you get higher in elevation, you're going to get a wider field of view, which of course is going to eventually put more horizon in front of the boat. If you go up high enough, if that boat gets too away from you onto the horizon, where you see it, boom, it's about to go over the curve, and then you raise up in elevation, you'll see, oh no, it's not getting ready to go over the curve. You go up a little higher and say, oh yeah, shit, it's got a long way to go to the horizon. Because you've widened your field of view. That's all you've done.
That wouldn't really make it go over, appear to be going bottom first, though.
Because your field of view is gone from here down. All the way to this point, you've been able to use this field of view all the way from the top of the picture down to the picture. But when you get to the horizon or the apparent horizon, your field of view is now cut off. All this is useless now. All this back here is useless. All you can use on this object now is a limited field of view that's blocked by this water. That's it. And so if I go up in elevation, I'll be able to see it all again. And if I go up a little higher, I'll be able to see more horizon beyond the object itself, which when I was down here appeared to be right on the horizon. It's nothing more than field of view. I got a good video on this. I'm going to find it.
I still don't see how that would make it go bottom first, though.
Well, keep thinking on it. You'll figure it out. It does. Let me see. Where am I at here?
If Earth was flat, the boat would just eventually disappear, not bottom first, but...
Yeah, your field of view has been cut. Okay, at this point. You were able to see the whole object when you had a complete field of view, but now your field of view is blocked by the water. Okay? Nothing blocked anything in the sky. Only in the bottom portion of your field of view. It went from your feet up to just under your eyes. Okay? As you look distant on, your field of view is gone from your down close to your feet all the way to the front of you. Okay? So you could see everything from there to that point, but anything that goes beyond that point is going to continue to appear to shrink. But because your field of view is blocked by that horizon, it's going to appear to get smaller from the bottom up. It's getting smaller equally. It's just that you're not seeing it due to your obstructed field of view. Let me find this here.
I'll do some research. Live research.
All right. I've shown this before, but this is really a good one.
So
I'm kind of hoping Dawn will join us here. She was supposed to.
So the horizon obstructs your field of view?
Yes. And pay attention, because this is what would happen if you were at a ball with the horizon. If the horizon was actually physical, you'll see what it would look like as you raise an elevation.
Yes, that is correct. I agree with that. So, yeah, and the ball would always be below you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep.
But see, we don't see that.
But we did. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and just for your edification, Charles Arnold, those drawings that I showed that show your field of view were from Google. I'll just let you know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're looking down. Oh, that's really hard to tell because of the brightness of the Earth. Yeah, the globe Earth is what we see happening. The horizon drops when you rise up. But for the infinite flat Earth, the horizon wouldn't drop as you rose up. But we do see the horizon drop as we rise up. So it's got to be a globe then. Yay! Thank you for proving the globe.
Well, thank you for proving the globe.
Well, yeah.
Are you mad?
Because he demonstrated that the horizon would drop on a globe, right?
Right. And it didn't drop.
And it did.
It didn't drop.
Globe proven.
No, it didn't drop, Luca.
Yeah, we constantly have to look down.
You know in that capsule bit, that was Baumgartner, right? That was a
Red Bull.
That was the Red Bull. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't below him. Right?
That was incredibly hard to tell because of the
It was incredibly hard to tell. He had a fucking line going across the screen.
The brightness. He had a line going across the brightness.
Yes.
It was
way
line. Too bright to tell.
It's that the horizon line should have been well below that line. Well below that line.
Oh, it's just it was the
okay. So I know what math you're doing for that. The 8 miles squared or whatever. That's for a parabola. That's not.
Nobody used any math, Connor.
Okay, well that's what I was watching it. There was some sort of calculation done for the curvature of the Earth. I assume that's
I know
what
you guys are programmed to say that's a parabola.
No,
just a moment.
Okay,
that also works. That also works for a sphere up to
the Earth is not a parabola.
I know.
There's a lot more curve on a parabola. It's more a parabola. Parabola is more of an oval than a rough sphere. So a parabola does not work for a globe.
It's not a globe or a
So
parabola. So that's the point.
no, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Where do you have any proof of this?
You can literally just look up. What was it? 8 miles squared.
No. I'm not looking for. I'm not
object.
asking you about a formula because I don't even know where the hell you got your R value from in the first place.
Oh no, I was looking at the math that you were showing in that video. I was watching on YouTube just a moment ago.
Right. Okay.
So I wanted to dispel that. That's completely not that's not even close to how you would calculate a sphere.
No, I'm sorry, Connor. You're 100% fucking wrong.
Unfortunately,
No,
I'm not.
You're 100% fucking wrong.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are 100%.
Okay, so
wrong. The formula works. Listen to me. On a sphere,
8 inches per mile squared. That's
7.
what somebody put in.
7.9.
7.9.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. 7.9. What about it?
Right. So it works on a sphere up to 1,000 miles.
Okay.
Exactly.
So squared.
So either
the
way,
square,
can we demonstrate curvature of a globe?
Pull up my throat.
24,900 whatever miles in circumference. Can you demonstrate this anywhere?
Okay, so going back, okay, I'll attend to that in just a moment, but something that I want to point out is that if you're doing squared for objects, that's for 2D objects. If you're going to
entirely wrong.
If you're going to calculate a 3D object,
calculate. Do you know how to calculate the volume of a cylinder?
The volume. Okay, is the Earth a cylinder?
It doesn't matter. You just said it only works for 2D objects if you square something. Do you know? Listen to me. Do you know the formula for calculating the volume of a cylinder?
Why don't you tell me?
Okay, you're going to take the diameter. You're going to square it.
You're going to take the diameter, and guess
You're
what?
Take the diameter, which is a circle, a 3-dimensional part, right? Okay, listen.
A circle is 2-dimensional.
Is a cylinder 2-dimensional or not?
It's the cylinder is 3D, but the circle is not.
The cylinder is actually 2-dimensional.
Didn't you just say that a cylinder is a 3D object?
Just a moment.
You just said that a cylinder was a 3D object.
It's actually only got 2 dimensions, but it is.
But then why did you just say it's a 3-dimensional object?
So it's a 3-dimensional object that has 2 dimensions.
That literally contradicts it. That makes 0 sense. Yeah, it does.
Does it? Is
this a 3D object is not a 2D object?
Is this an object in 3 dimensions? Yes or no?
That's a 3-dimensional object. Yeah.
It only has 2 dimensions.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Here,
well,
let me.
All right. Outside of diameter and length, what other dimension is there?
Okay, diameter, length, and width.
Diameter is width.
Okay.
Dumbass.
So here, no, it's not. Diameter is not. Okay, so here.
All right. So what's the difference between the diameter and the width of this? This has length and diameter. That's it. So
length,
what is
length? Okay, so here, let me point it out. So this is a direction. Here, wrong face. This is a direction. This is a direction, and this is a direction.
Yeah, that's a cube.
If it's two, I know, but a cube is a 3D object, just like a cylinder.
So is this. So outside of diameter and length, what other dimension is there that this has?
Hey, Luca, would you please look up if a cylinder is a 3D object for us? I assume you're still here.
It is considered a 3D object.
Width, length, and height. Yes, it is a 3D object.
What do you mean length? What height? Are you talking about here to here?
Up and down, yes. Up, down.
That's diameter, dumbass.
Okay. Up,
that's
down.
One thing. It's diameter, and length.
Width, and height.
Yes, up, down, left, right, backwards, and forwards.
All right, I'm going to give you 2 of the 3 dimensions then, Connor.
Instead of height,
I'm going to give you 2 of the 3 dimensions.
That's cool. That makes it 2-dimensional.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
There's a length and there's a diameter. Now tell me the third dimension.
Okay, so the diameter is around the object.
Right?
That's around.
Yeah.
So that for
No,
that to, okay. So
that
here,
around would be circumference, which is another way of
no,
expressing.
circumference is related, but it's not the exact same thing.
It's just another way of expressing the diameter.
The diameter. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so a diameter is not the same thing as to what you're saying.
What are you talking about? This has diameter and length.
So for there,
it's a three-dimensional
okay,
object.
so
It's a three-dimensional object that has only two dimensions to it. It has a diameter and it has a length. Those incorporate everything you need to know about this. Now,
for there to be a diameter, there has to be two dimensions already. You're adding a third dimension to that.
What do you have to
A
have?
diameter. Okay, so for a diameter to exist, you have to have up and down and left and right. Otherwise, it's literally just a straight line, and that's 1D. So you've given me 2D there alone.
All I need to do is measure the thickness. That's my diameter. There it is, one measurement.
Okay, so you can't just measure the diameter.
Never going to change.
Okay, that is not how you measure diameter at all.
I use
it's not how you measure
micrometers. I've used calipers. I don't know what the fuck you use.
Okay, so yeah, that's cool. But we learned this in sixth grade. We don't. That's not how that works.
Well, I'm not in the sixth grade. I've done this with machine work and shit. Dude.
Oh yeah, have you?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so something that I wanted to point out, something that I brought up last time we debated. Oh no, I wanted.
You said that you can't use a square to calculate a three-dimensional object, and I'm going.
Okay, yes, but you're trying to say that a circle and a sphere are the same thing. They are not.
No, I'm not. Not saying that at all.
You're not.
Never say such a stupid.
I mean, well, no, that's what you seem to be implying because you're saying.
Not what I'm implying. If you were too busy running your face and thinking of what you want to say next instead of actually listening, you may conclude what you have.
Okay,
however, I was in the middle of dispelling your claim that a squared can't be used in a three-dimensional object, and I'm going to tell you how it is used.
You're trying to use the same calculation for a circle as for a.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you that you're full of shit. Because right here, my friend, if I take the diameter and I square it, and then I multiply it by pi and divide it by 4, then multiply that by the length, that'll give me the cubic inches of this cylinder.
Okay, so here. Here, let's go back and how about we talk about that pi that you just mentioned along with the square.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how that works?
Yeah. Why does it? What the fuck, dude? I used to calculate cubic inches of fucking stainless steel to repair caster rolls with, man. Do the cost analysis on it. What the fuck are you talking about? Do I know? Kiss my ass. Do you have a point to make? You tried to run that bullshit that's back from 2018 about that the fucking 8 inches per mile squared doesn't work on a sphere. It has been verified that it does fucking work.
Dude.
Here's the problem.
Tell me the shoot. How do I word this? Tell me how you calculate a 3D object. Then what's the problem for that?
What do you mean calculate a 3D object?
Okay. So here,
how about this, Connor? How about you don't
what's the formula?
How about
what's
this,
the formula for a 3D
asshole? How about you don't come up on my fucking show and start derailing it? Do you have something to say about goddamn perspective, or can you prove curvature of the earth, or are you just going to sit there floundering around like a kid?
Here, what is the formula for a 3D object?
We're not talking about fucking formulas, you asswipe. Answer my fucking question or I'm going to throw your ass off the show. Do you dig? I'm not in the mood for you tonight, motherfucker. I got neighbors burning up. You dig? Now, do you have anything to say on the topic of the fucking show tonight? Or on perspective? Or can you prove your fucking globe? That's all I want to hear.
Okay, I mean, I guess we'll change subject then. Here, I will
It's
help
not a
you out.
change of subject. It's the topic of the show, troll.
It's
Do
length
you see
times
what the
width
fucking
times height.
shut up. My show, dickwad. Do you see what the title of the show is? I want you to read it to me.
Lyin Eyes. Don't worry,
Right.
I
What's it
read
say
it.
under the description? What's it say in the description? Can you read that for us, please?
Oh, I'm not on YouTube right now, so I can't
Oh, okay.
go
Well, it
into the
says let's
description.
talk about fucking perspective.
Here, I just want to point out that you couldn't bring
I
up
want to
like
point
what
out that
basic
you're
geometry.
fucking dude. What are we going to talk about geometry now of
Okay,
cubes and
so
ever such stupid shit? Are you
oh
here?
yeah,
Why are you
don't
here?
worry.
Why are you here? Why are you here?
Okay,
Don't
I just
fuck with
want
me. Don't fuck with me. Why are you here?
why I am
Don't
here
fuck
to
with me. Why are you here?
are
Last
you gonna
question.
let me answer
Are
the
you going
question?
to answer the fucking question asked? Why are you really here?
To here, how do I put this in
To
a
be a
concise
fucking
way?
jackass. That's why you're here. Fuck off. Sorry, I'm just not in the mood for fucking assholes like him tonight. Sit there and talk about goddamn shit. You can't use a square talking about in 3D shit. Motherfucker, it's used to calculate goddamn cubic inches of a cylinder. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. I used to have to take that large diameter and the small diameter. It'd be about 15 sections like that you'd have to add that shit all together in one fucking thing just to figure out how many cubic inches of stainless steel it was going to take to repair that fucking thing. I set it up in a thing where I put the formula in a calculator, and then all I had to do is just put the small diameter and the length. Just keep putting that. And then boom, it would calculate it all out at the end because it'd take you all day. Yeah, we explained why the sun goes from the bottom up, Charles. We've gone on about that before already. So anyway, back on to what we were talking about on this show. See, this is what they do. This is how fucking desperate these assholes really are. This is how desperate they are. It just makes me want to fucking puke. These people are so afraid that everybody's going to find out that their little magic space ball and their fucking Martians and all their bullshit's not real, and it's really hurting their little fucking panties. That's what's the problem. Yeah, the sun does change size too. I can show you that from high altitude photographs. Yes. And the reason you don't is exactly this. If something's already far away from you, you're not going to see much change in its angular size. Do I have to demonstrate this fucking shit again to people? Do I really? Look, you see how big my hand gets? You can see a noticeable difference. I extend my hand and pull it back. You see a noticeable difference. Watch this now. I'm going back here by my friend, by Sung Ting Wong. Notice how you see very little angular change in my hand because it's already far away from you. God, I don't understand, man. People walk around with these two goddamn things in their fucking heads, and all they can do is just goggle around and not notice how their own goddamn eyesight works, man.
And the sun is very far away, so you wouldn't see it.
Well, I don't think it's as far away. I mean, what do you consider far away?
Well, I would consider like 5 miles far away.
5 miles far away? Okay. And that all depends. That'll you have to admit that depends too, right? Because like 5 miles to an ant would probably be like a lifetime journey, right?
Yeah, an ant would consider that very, very far.
Right. So
but yeah.
93 million is ridiculous. I mean, that is a ridiculous. It's very ridiculous, especially since they had to go from 3 million all the way to 102 million and then back to 93 million again. I mean, I think that the biggest problem with calculating the sun is it's an elusive thing. It's kind of elusive. Is it actually physical? Is it really something there? Is it just a point of energy? What the fuck are we really seeing? But you do see something. And, 3,000 miles is a long way.
So how do you
know?
so how do you know it's not 93 million miles away?
Well, because it wouldn't work.
Why?
Well, the light we get from it doesn't behave that way. Doesn't behave 93 million miles. Because some guy said it's 93 million miles, that makes it 93 million miles? How is that even calculated? Did you ever look into it, Luca?
We calculated the distance with
No,
radar.
you never calculated it. Someone else calculated it and told you. You're not part of we. Stop saying that. You're not part of we.
They calculated it.
Someone else calculated it.
Yeah, they.
Right.
They
And then told you what they calculated. Do you understand how they did it?
Radar. They say radar.
You cannot, the sun will not bounce radar.
Well, if it's physical, then it would.
No, it's a dark body.
What's a dark body?
It doesn't bounce. You can't bounce light off light, Luca.
Is dark body light?
A dark body is an object that will not show up on radar.
And is that
you
is
cannot
that what they say?
pick up light with light. You can't bounce light off of light. It's not possible. So that's out the window. And how could they be off by so far as to start out at 3 million and end up at 93 million?
Oh, because they had no accurate way of determining the distance back then.
Well, how would it become any more accurate? How would you determine the distance?
Technology.
What accurate method would we have to do that with?
We have better technology. And
what
better
technology? What? Just looking at something is not going to tell you how far away it is. Not unless you know how big it is.
So, isn't what
you can get all the fucking telescopes in the world you want to, but looking at something is not going to tell you how far away something is if you have nothing to reference it by.
I'd suspect that a dark body would be something that doesn't emit light. But
well, that's in radar. They refer to it as a dark body. Okay.
All right.
That's just a term, not my term. It's their term. That's what they use with the radar.
Wait, do you mean
here in a little while, body? Johnny and I are going to get in my Jeep. We're going to ride out and see if we can get some good pictures of the fire.
And
oh, fuck yeah, man. You ain't heard. Yeah, he lives way out in the sticks. He ain't heard no shit about it. Yeah, I'll show you about it.
Do you mean, are you confusing dark body with black body?
You can't. I'm just going to go with this right here. You can't detect the sun with radar. Even if you had a radar that could shoot that far, 98.5 light minutes away, you have to consider that by the time it gets there, and it did bounce, it's already scattered and thinned out big time. Then that spread out scattered beam or radar signal is going to bounce and get even more scattered and spread out to a point where it's not even detectable. Meanwhile, the Earth has traveled over 18,000 miles in its orbit around the sun, no longer at the original position it was at when it sent the signal. You see, kind of a problem. Kind of a problem. You have signal attenuation. It's ludicrous nonsense that they feed you. It's stories. It's the same shit as like when you said, well, Where does Santa Claus live? Well, he lives way far away at the North Pole where you can't go and check for yourself. You know, oh, well, isn't that handy? Isn't that a handy thing? You can't really check and see if the guy's real because he lives in a place where I can't even fucking go. This is the kind of shit that they're doing to you. It's the same goddamn tooth fairy Santa Claus trick that they pulled on you as a kid. Ain't no different. And they got people eating this shit up. Other people that know better and just want this shut up like you can't believe. Because this is going to ruin everything.
With Santa Claus, there's a motive there.
I didn't hear you, Luca. What did you say?
There's a motive with Santa Claus. It's getting children to behave.
Hold on a second, Luca. If I walked into a room and I see a dead guy laying on the floor with a fucking knife sticking out of his back, I can pretty much conclude that there was a murder without having to figure out any motive yet, right? I know that a fucking murder took place. Now, does it matter what the motive is? The murder's right there. There it is. There's the dead guy. There's the knife sticking out of his back. He's stone cold dead. Someone murdered him. And some other guy says, wonder why they killed this guy. And you say, oh, I don't know. Well, he must not have been murdered then. Do you see how dumb that is? Want me to tell you what someone else's motive for doing some shit would be? All I can do is show you that this is not true.
Okay, how can you show me it's not true?
I've already shown you multiple ways how it's not true.
But
first and foremost, entropy, my friend. That means no going to space, no outer space, no fucking burning balls of gas in a vacuum.
Why?
Why?
Well, why does entropy mean no going to space?
Free. Just think free exchange of energy and matter. Okay. So, how do you have air without a container?
We have a downward acceleration.
You what?
We have a downward bias.
There is no downward acceleration of air.
The air would get pulled towards the ground.
Air's not being pulled to the ground. You can't show that it is. Nobody can. There's no downward force of air.
Do I need to show that it is?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's ludicrous.
If we can prove one demonstration of mass attracting
no. I'm talking about air.
Yeah, as mass.
Yeah. Show a downward acceleration of air due to gravity. Downward force of air. There's no downward force of air.
Would you agree that if we can determine or demonstrate that mass attracts mass, we technically don't need to show that the air has a downward.
Yes, you do.
Thing.
Yes, you do. Because you've not really successfully demonstrated that. That's not even what Cavendish's experiment was for. Do you realize that, right?
It was the
hypothesis. What was Cavendish? What was the Cavendish experiment? What was Cavendish? What did he do in his experiment? What was it that he did in his experiment?
You mean what was the original purpose? What was it? What was it originally designed for?
What Cavendish did in his celebrated experiment? What was it that he did in this experiment?
He hung the torsion stuff, and 2 balls. Did that, right? He was trying to the original purpose, I think, was to measure the gravitational force or attraction between the masses, right?
Wrong. You and Charles both get an F today. Okay? Cavendish is found the mean density of Earth. Okay.
That was an
He
indirect
didn't measure the
result.
gravitational constant. I'm going to put this out there to you. This is right from a scientific journal, my friend. Right from a scientific journal.
That was an indirect result. It indirectly
Wait a second.
allowed for the
Cavendish
calculation of Earth's
did
mass.
not, and this is all documented historically, Cavendish did not determine the mean density of the Earth. He did not determine a gravitational constant, and he did not calculate the mass of the Earth. None of that. None of that. This is all a speculation load of shit. Now, to the original thing, yeah, like I said, it doesn't prove anything because if air had, hold on, listen to me. If air, as you say, has mass, you should be able to show that same gravitational constant being applied to air, right? 9.8 meters per second squared. We should have a downward acceleration of air, a downward force of air. But we do not have a downward force of air. No, we don't. There is no downward force of air.
How do you know?
Because you would be able to measure it.
I'm sure we can.
You can't. There isn't one. No, there isn't one. It's the displacement. It's nothing more than you displacing the medium. That's what the pressure is.
Air is kind of, well, invisible to the human eye. So we can't actually see it. So measuring it would be kind of hard.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. Why do we feel no downward push of air?
Because the air's all around us?
That's right.
It's so then that pressure our entire body.
That's right. So if it's coming down on you, how can it be on your whole body? It's because you're displacing it. It's the same thing as when you go underwater. The deeper you go, the more volume you're displacing. And therefore, you feel more pressure against every square inch of your body. That's where the pounds per square inch comes in on this. It's not pounds per square inch pushing down. It's pushing in on you. It's trying to take up the space where you're at. It wants desperately to be where you are, but two things can't occupy the same space at the same time, so something's got to yield, and in this case, it's the medium. Now, in the case of those guys that went down to see the Titanic, the medium won. The medium won that battle. Smash that sucker right in on itself, baby.
It imploded.
It surely did. It surely did. So that's there again. Those are the results of displacement, not the weight of the water pushing down on the submarine. If that happened, you get to a point where you just sink. You just get
pushing against on all sides, though.
So here's the thing, too. If that's
crushed it, it imploded.
It crushed it from all sides. It crushed it from all sides. It went crunch, just like a hillbilly with a beer can. Yeah. Crunch. There it went.
Yep.
Boom.
That's right. It crushed it from all sides, and
now you get it. Now you get it. So the same thing happens up here. Okay. If we have something and we remove the air from inside of it, it will squish in. Did it get sucked in? No. The air outside pushed it in. Okay. It didn't get sucked in. Like, have you seen the one with the rail car? Have you ever seen that one with the rail car getting cracked? Let me show you that. That's really cool.
But air is extremely lighter than water. So we wouldn't really feel it as we do with the water.
Watch this thing. This is pretty crazy.
Well, I can't say
this is one of those, you've seen these on the road, right?
Little gas. Yeah, little gas.
Yeah. Watch here. They start reducing the pressure inside the inside this cylinder. Watch what happens.
Does it explode? Oh my god.
Number 1. Wait about 9 minutes.
You know, a similar thing happens if you
Now that's only 23 torr. That's
If
only
you
23 torr. Okay, the outside pressure was 760 torr. So what happened when that inside was reduced to 23 torr, the pressure on the outside, that 760, just took advantage of that and took up the space, man. That's exactly what went down there. That air outside pushed that in.
Very, very similar thing happens with a can. If
Yes.
you do you know the experiment with the can where you heat it up and then flip it over onto cold water or something and it crushes the can?
Look at that pressure equalizer. Look, here's inside. Dude, that's insane. And so yeah, that's what's going on with air. This is another thing right here. We've got
if you heat up a can and then turn it over into cold water, it gets crushed.
Yeah, because why?
The air pressure, right?
Right. You're changing it quickly. You take a hot can like that and put it in the ice, and down it goes right away.
But I think the can has to be open, otherwise it would just implode.
Now here's an interesting thing. Okay. Now the air, if it was pushing down, right, and it apparently has mass. Watch what happens here. This little guy, he's on a scale inside a vacuum cleaner. Sean Hawkins,
buoyancy.
Buoyancy, exactly. So not gravity, because look what happens when we remove the mass of the air, which should have weight, according to the formula, right? It should have weight. The object inside here actually gets heavier. How can something get heavier when we remove mass from the equation? That's not right. That doesn't make sense.
You're also removing
Watch what happens
buoyancy from the equation too.
This guy here, standing on my scale.
Not only
starting off at 19.81 grams.
So not only are you removing air, you're removing buoyancy as well.
See him starting to gain weight?
Yeah, you're removing the air, but the side effect of that is getting rid of buoyancy as well. So that's
what happened to the gravity that was holding the air and pushing down from the air being pulled to the earth and shit? It was on top of that guy.
The force of the vacuum is stronger.
No, there's no force of a vacuum.
Yeah, you suck all the air out.
Yeah, it took the medium out. We took out mass. We reduced the mass. The gravity should be less. We reduced the mass, the air that was pushing down on this little man just a few seconds before this thing was turned on, right? The air that was pushing down on him has now been removed, and the guy gained weight.
20 milligrams. 19.84. So he weighed around 0.15% more just by being in the vacuum chamber. Before we continue with our experiment, let me tell you about our sponsor today.
So that doesn't make sense. We removed mass. If mass is attracting mass, then we removed mass and the object got heavier. That makes what? You were on the right track. That yes, there is medium there helping to support the guy. Now, if we increase the density of that medium, that support will increase, and the guy's overall weight will decrease. So it's all about nothing more than a ratio between the object and the medium in which it's residing. So when it comes to air being the medium that we're in, there's no downward acceleration of it. It will draft down when it gets cold. That's why you want to turn your ceiling fan the other way, get it spinning the other way in the summer, because your air conditioning will settle to the floor in your house. You see, it'll be colder near the floor than it is up near the ceiling. And by having an updraft, you can pull that cool air and have it up in the higher regions of the house and circulate it better. In the wintertime, you want to do the opposite of it, because the hot air is risen up to the ceiling and you want it to blow down to where the cold air is at, down by the floor. You want it to circulate in that direction. Now there's air changing location merely due to its temperature. It's real simple. And of course, we've got the warmest temperature right here close to the earth and on the surface of the earth. Of course, this is also where all our water vapor and shit's at too. All the gases are being exchanged and produced right here on this level earth. And of course, we're going to have the highest concentration of it. And as we rise up in elevation, we start losing some of those elements, as well as different reactions of the gases and the different densities of gases due to pressure, their own relative density to one another. It's a dynamic system. And of course, it's always fluxing, always fluxing. This 14.7 is not constant, because you can look, I've got a little thing on my barometer in the front room. It tells me how many different throughout the last so many hours, how much change in millibars there's been, which is small increases within the pressure range that we live in. And boy, on those days when you start feeling your sinuses and shit, those things are way up there, man. And then on the days when you're not feeling that, you see them way down low. So we react to it. We're very pressure sensitive. You feel it when you go over a mountain.
So
This is just it's a necessary myth to make their globe real. But the reality of it is, the only way a volume of gas can be obtained or kept is with a container. And of course, it's going to be in a state of disequilibrium because it's contained and therefore exert some pressure, but only on the things that are displacing it and against the container itself. It's just how the thing works, man. It's how everything works. It's just like a pressure in your tire. These people think there's pressure in the middle. Well, that would indicate some kind of a condensing of the material. But a deep sea diver, if he's able to go down very, very deep, and there's a lot of pressure down there, the water doesn't get thicker. He doesn't have have to put out any more effort to move forward as he would at 25 feet. He just has the same type of movement that he did up top. So I don't know where they get this idea from. People have a really heavy duty misconception on what pressure actually is. The news break on your phone just now gave it. Realize? Holy shit. Hey, and I was behind on it, man. I wasn't paying no attention. How I noticed it was I looked out this window and saw smoke coming up the fucking mountain. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, it's gonna be rough up there, man. Wow. Yeah, we'll go out. We're gonna go out here in a little bit and take a look at it. Lyin wants to go with us too. But yeah, that's some your gas. People don't really understand how gas works. This is an interesting little video too on pressure. I know this is kind of not what the thing is tonight, but and I'll tell you what, these little trolls that just pop up out of fucking nowhere and want to come up here and try to derail the fucking show, I'm gonna fucking lambaste them and just throw them the fuck off. I don't have time for this either. I really don't. Like that last character that came up here. Oh no, we're gonna go and do this algebra problem. Why don't you suck my dick? How about that?
Some people still claim that gravity is a force, and that force is the reason why we have gas pressure here on Earth, and why the gas is not dispersing into the vacuum of space according to the second law of thermodynamics and an increase in entropy. you do realise that you are claiming a decrease in entropy, which is a violation of that law. And I will also remind you that gravity hasn't been enforced for over 108 years. How many of your scientists...
Did you see that? What just took place right there, Luca? With that gas that was down here in this bottom thing, and he opened up this little valve, and it went immediately up into there. That's entropy.
Scientific priests, would you like me to quote Professor Brian Cox, for example? Gravity is a force. Neil deGrasse Tyson, we don't know what gravity is. Professor George Musa, gravity isn't a force, but you can think of it as a force. Why he decided not to remember Einstein and the bending and warping space-time, which was a gravitational idea that superseded the Newtonian idea over 108 years ago. You do understand this, right? This is not a force. I will remind you, of course, you do not have a scientific experiment that proves gravity is the cause of anything, and you most definitely, even if I was to give you gravity, do not have the observation of gravity acting on gas. You can't beg the question. You can't assert that out there is a space vacuum in an open system where we have a gas pressure without something to press upon, and that is not following the second law of thermodynamics and that direction of entropy, which requires the high pressure system to disperse into the lower pressure environment. So keep saying gravity is a force. Everybody in the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord server, and I guarantee you, every single flat earther here on Earth, and I'll also guarantee you, your own pseudo-scientific priests will not agree with you. So you can die on that hill as much as you want, but no one's going to come and save you. Gravity isn't a force. It's also not the bending and warping of space-time, but I will remind you, it's most definitely not defeating entropy, because you're claiming a decrease. You can't have an entropy decrease, you're false. Anyway, I've been the Flat Earth Jedi, and you can join me and the rest of my colleagues on the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord server. Link will be in the comments.
So that's that whole thing. What was it? Ozian said the other day. He said that, oh well, the Earth loses gases and stuff, but it sweeps them back up during its orbit. And I was like, what? Like there's gas leaking off the Earth, and it's like, it's okay, oxygen and stuff. We'll be back around to catch you next year, Okay. Wow. Cannot fucking believe some of these people, man. And the shit that they say. There was something else I was going to show you here tonight about this. Dave Weiss has a pretty good thing out tonight. I'm going to put the link down here for you on perspective. I'm going to put it down here and paste it. Y'all check that out a little bit. That was pretty good. It just came out a couple hours ago. Let me see. Where was that thing I wanted to show? Oh, this was it right here. So people, you remember when I said, somebody want to tell me where Newton got his physics degree at, right? Well, there's this asswipe out there. He's been making little short videos, and Flatsoy did this cut up of it. And the dude did a video saying that what's his nuts Newton went to Cambridge University and shit, but not for physics. He didn't study physics. He studied philosophy and art. There you go. Let's just stop this up here real quick.
Do you want me to teach you something that you might not have learned?
Sure, go right ahead.
Yes, he did. He did get his degree at Trinity College in Cambridge with a Bachelor of Arts.
Is art physics?
At the time, the BA of Arts was the standard undergraduate degree awarded by universities like Cambridge, covering a broad curriculum that included the trivium, grammar, rhetoric, and logic, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy, which were the basic
curriculum. Those are the Those are the curriculum that was offered there. Yes, absolutely.
Which for the basis of
Did he
education in the
is
arts.
okay? So what was his degree in?
The categorization of degrees in arts and sciences, as we understand them
Here we
today,
go. We're gonna see what it was. Watch.
was not
Get
the
his
same in
physics
Newton's
degree
time. His
Trinity
Bachelor of
College,
Arts would
Cambridge.
have encompassed a
Anybody
range
tell me
of
that?
studies,
He didn't.
including
Oh,
general
that's right. He didn't.
analysis.
Newton studied the philosophy of Descartes, Gassendi, Hobbes, and in particular Boyle. The mechanics of the Copernican astronomy of Galileo attracted him, and he also studied Kepler's optics.
Newton get his physics. He had a Bachelor of Arts, my friend. Wonder what his grades were. I'd like to see, is there a transcript of his grades or anything like that? Did the guy even really fucking exist? I mean, for real. I mean, you know, you have to wonder sometimes about this shit. You really do. Oh, and I've been wanting to play this for a while now. Hang on a second. I'm going to bring this up. Let me see.
I even commented on that video.
Did you? Oh, look at here. Let's see. Oh,
You should let me know when you mute me.
Oh yeah, the video was playing and it was talking at the same time. My bad.
Yeah.
So this was Sean Hawkins's heartfelt apology to me, and this is I was wrong. See that thing I showed you, the guy on a little thing on a scale inside the vacuum chamber, right? This dumbass, as many times as I've shown that, he put the scale outside of the fucking vacuum chamber, which is not what the demonstration was showing at all. But anyway, listen to this guy, how mad he is that he was fucking wrong.
Showed that I was wrong. Was wrong about the thing in the vacuum chamber and the scale, because I misunderstood him. I misheard him. Excuse me. I wasn't paying attention to his boring ass. So if I would have heard him, if I would have listened more carefully, yeah.
Well, maybe you ought to listen a little bit before you run your fucking crackhead mouth, Sean. I'm just I don't know. That's what I would do, you know, before I go to running my mouth like a little crackhead.
Take a thing in an object. If you take an object, put it in the vacuum chamber, remove the air, it's gonna get heavier because of the buoyant force, because of gravity.
Buoyant
That's what I
force. First
said.
off, there's no buoyant force displacement.
That's what I said. Buoyant
It's displacement, and you just negated gravity right off the fucking bat.
But buoyancy.
See, that's
uses
science.
gravity.
That's how science works.
He actually proved my point.
It's not density.
Oh,
it's buoyancy because of gravity. See,
Because of
buoyancy
gravity.
is a factor of gravity. It's a force that exists because of gravity.
Yeah.
Yet it's a force. You claim this to be a force. It's not defined as a force.
It's gotta be.
There is no force. You've never
has
been able
to be
to
a
prove it. The best you can do is try to demonstrate it using some cockamamie 18th century fucking hanging balls and shit. And I'll bring up a video on that here in just a minute too, because that's a joke. That's a complete joke. But anyway, watch this guy. He starts getting mad. He already knows he's proven my point.
But I'm man enough to admit that I'm wrong. When I say someone else is wrong. But you know, Flatzoid,
it was the third time you doubled down on it after being corrected, Sean. Duh.
You're taking such glee in this. In this one time that I was wrong because I misunderstood someone or I misheard something. But you've called me a liar. Everything I say is a lie. So you've got one. As a matter of fact, you called me a liar on a video where you said that I dishonestly manipulated a photograph to prove my point when I didn't, and prove that I didn't. And you are too much of a fucking coward to admit that you were wrong about me. So before you cast aspersions, motherfucker, you better fucking look at yourself and what you've done. And the thing is Flatzoid can't prove that I'm a liar. See, I misunderstood him. I misheard him. That's not a lie, Flatzoid. That's just getting it wrong. And I admit I got it wrong because I didn't listen right. And that's what happens when you don't listen right, Flatzoid. You get shit wrong. So you didn't listen right all through school, did you? And you get everything fucking wrong.
Hey, Charles, can you tell me where gravity is used in buoyancy at all? Where is gravity used? And I'll show you how it's not used.
Both you and Dave are just fucking morons. But yeah, I'll admit that I was wrong about that. No problem. No problem at all. That's what honest people do, Flatzoid. Now, when are you going to make it?
It's obviously what lying motherfuckers do, because you're doing it right now, Sean, and you're one of the biggest fucking idiots I've ever seen in my life, man. You are. I mean, this guy, wow.
A video like I've told you to do for months, saying that you were wrong about me when you said I falsely manipulated a photo dishonestly. When are you going to do that, Flatzoid? Huh? So I'll expect that video to be coming post haste, right, motherfucker?
It's coming with your welfare check, Sean. Don't worry, it's coming with your welfare check, buddy.
Since we're calling people out for honesty, right? For being wrong when and admitting they're wrong when they're wrong, right?
You guys want to hear the condensed version of this? I have the condensed version of this right here. You ready? Oh,
it would be FB equals PVG.
Yeah. Okay. So what is G in that formula?
G is the acceleration due to
gravity. Acceleration. Okay.
Due to gravity.
So not gravity. Well, you assume it's due to gravity. I could say acceleration due to magic leprechauns, or I could say acceleration due to wishes from children, or I could say acceleration. It doesn't fucking matter, does it? It's an observed effect, not a cause.
Here's another thing now. The P is the density of the fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is density? What is density?
Density would also be part of the point.
Density is mass over volume. So
yes, that's right.
Yeah. So let me see. I'm going to bring this thing up here real quick.
Well, V would be the volume displaced by the object.
What?
That would be.
Density is calculated. Density is equal to the mass over volume.
The V is the volume of the fluid displaced by the object, and the P is the density of the fluid.
Right, which is calculated by the density of the fluid is calculated by the mass over volume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So gravity's not in there. The only place gravity's in there is because they assumed the effect, the cause of an effect. So that G doesn't really mean anything. Well, gravity is assumed.
No.
Gravity is assumed. You have no more proof of gravity than you do of magic unicorns flying around, you know?
But we did those mass attracts mass.
No, you suppose that it does. It doesn't. Nobody's ever witnessed this. You see, the first thing before an experiment is conducted is there has to be an observation. right? We observe a natural phenomenon. Okay. No one has ever observed objects drawing close to one another or pulling on one another or any other such nonsense like that. Nobody's ever seen that. So why are we developing an experiment to see why something we never see happens? Do you see how dumb that is to begin with?
The observation was things fall towards the ground. Why?
Yeah, right.
Why do things fall towards the ground?
Because they cannot be supported to the medium
and
by the
then
medium.
hypothesis
Things that
was,
can be supported by the medium will not fall to the ground. Like
the hypothesis was mass attracts mass.
Well, the hypothesis was obviously fucking wrong because it's never been proven mass attracting mass. No one has ever observed this ever before in history. No
That's
one.
where the experiment comes in now.
Why would you have an experiment for something that has never been observed?
Would you make
should I make an experiment to see if there's ghosts?
You can.
I've never seen any fucking ghosts. Well, I mean, that would be stupid. I would first have to observe the phenomenon before I could test for it to see what it was, wouldn't I?
Well, you can do a hypothesis about psychics.
Well, why would I even have a hypothesis? I've never witnessed it.
About psychics, you know?
Well, I've not done that. Why would I? The point is, who has ever seen objects drawing one another to each other? I mean, I could understand somebody saying, I believe mass attracts mass because if I drop this rock, it goes to the ground. But if I hold the rock, the ground comes up to it. Dirt comes up to it from the ground. Therefore, mass attracts mass, but we don't see that ever.
The rock is tiny.
Huh?
The rock is very, very tiny.
Yeah, because it's non-existent.
It doesn't generate a strong
Watch the video, Luca. Just watch the video.
One of my favorite scientists is Henry Cavendish. Even though he was part of the rich dukes of Devonshire, that family, and incredibly rich, he went to Cambridge to study natural sciences, or natural philosophy as it's called. But he had a very curious condition in that he could hardly talk to anybody. So when it came to his Viva exam after 3 years of study, he fled Cambridge rather than sit in front of the examiners because he was petrified of them. But he was one of the most brilliant scientists of that 18th century.
Okay, great. So he is the only person, apparently, to have come up with an experiment to prove gravity, which I think is based on two objects of mass will be attracted to each other, and that's to prove gravity. But apparently, the only reason I looked into this is because I was having an argument with somebody online. They were trying to tell me gravity is just a known fact, where I was just saying it's not. And this is all they ever tell you. So I felt obliged to have a look into it. And apparently this experiment has never been replicated, just like all experiments that we've been given to prove one theory after another to prove the globe Earth. This is just another example of some outlandish story, groundbreaking experiment that revolutioned and just changed the world and backed up a theory. And yeah, so I was trying to find this experiment being replicated and demonstrated. So I think I found the video, so let's have a watch.
Towards the end of his life, he did a crucial experiment, which is represented by these lead balls. At the back of it, he had a big garden shed, which might seem like the size of my house. And in it, he had two lead balls like this, suspended from the ceiling. Only this is not to scale. This is, I mean, lead balls. Now, the real problem is that he wanted to measure the attraction between two objects due to gravity. In other words, there's a gravitational attraction between you and me, or between me and this lead ball.
So gravity, which is a theory, and was only invented because they said that the Earth spins, and it's needed to explain why things don't go flying off the spinning Earth. And as far as I know, this is the only so-called experiment, like this chap's explaining, that gravity, according to them, is all objects of mass are pulling towards each other. And so this experiment is supposed to demonstrate that. So let's see.
So he had to be a long way away to look at the experiment, otherwise he'd interfere with it. So he had an aperture, a place where he looked through, and he put a telescope out there, and he stood outside in all weathers, and he was in his 60s doing this, staring through the window to take his measurements over a year. There's another set of lead balls inside there. This experiment really is very difficult to get to work, and a technician has sawed it apart because he got so frustrated.
Yeah, I don't think I need to say much else, do I? The technician got frustrated, so he sawed it apart because it doesn't work. Brilliant. So if you're having a debate with anybody,
it's like
about gravity
in a video game
and they try and throw this
smashing
in
the
your face,
control on the
just
floor.
send them to this video.
This thing is so difficult to set up. And I mean, once they get it set, and the results are never consistent. It's half the time it doesn't fucking work, but they don't talk about, oh, it didn't have an effect this time. They go, oh, well, it must not have been set up correctly. So when it does what they expect it to do, then it's set up correctly. But then when it doesn't do it, then it wasn't set up correctly. This is the fucking hypocrisy involved with these people.
Wouldn't that generally be how it works?
Well, first off, what the fuck are they even doing? Nobody has ever witnessed mass attracting mass. They haven't ruled out. There's a shitload of variables. And like I said, it's not consistent. It doesn't always do what they want it to do. And if it does do what they want it to do, it didn't really prove anything, because what is the IV? The mass? No, I thought it was the attractive force is the IV.
Can you... what? No, the IV would be the distance between them.
Well, then not gravity, right?
Gravity has things to do with the distance.
Well, that's what they say. That's a nice story.
Oh, can you disprove it?
There's nothing been proven to disprove. That's the point. You guys want us to disprove unicorns or calculate the speed of Santa's sled? For crying out loud. You guys keep wanting us to look at shit that doesn't fucking exist and then say, well, prove that this doesn't exist. It's like, motherfucker.
I've never seen a Cavendish setup that doesn't work.
Video.
Oh my God. Yes, you have, Luca. Yes, you have. As much as you're on Flatzoids, he showed it several times. Several times he's shown this, man.
Sleeping Warrior showed me
Cavendish experiment, 60 symbols.
And how
it's such a good experiment that they can't even replicate it without taking a hacksaw to it.
And then right in the middle, there's a bit of glass. There's a mirror, which should be suspended from a torsion wire. So you'd set it up like this in his shed, and you put it like that, and this lead ball would attract that lead ball, and this lead ball would attract this one. And so it would be pushed a little bit this way and twist the wire, and that would be pushed a little bit that way. And the wire would twist, and as the wire twists, the mirror, which is dangling in there, would twist a little bit. And light, which comes in, would be reflected off a different angle.
Well,
and all
makes
he had
sense.
to do was measure the angle.
Oh my
He then
God.
had to move it the other way around. Oh, he didn't move this bit. He moved the lead balls round so that you had an equal and opposite effect on the other side. So instead of you'd have that configuration. He had this is a very complicated technical thing for the time. This experiment.
It was was a technical thing for the time. Hanging fucking balls in a shed. Oh,
I can see every
sake.
bit of logic. And as to why he sawed it in half, I can see the logic in that too. It's the equivalent of smashing the control onto the ground because you died in a video game, or you're raging in a video game.
What?
And
no, this is fucking hilarious.
You get angry and you throw the controller on the ground.
Nobody's throwing any controller on the ground. I'm laughing my ass off at this janky fucking so-called experiment and the conclusions that are being derived from it. It's fucking comical.
Well, it makes sense.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. It doesn't make any sense at all. Not a lick of sense.
Why?
Because what observation are we testing? What observation are we experimenting with? No one has ever observed masses attracting mass. And as we discussed before, that wasn't even the purpose of the fucking experiment.
No, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, because
no, it wasn't. It was to find the mean density of the Earth. It was to find the mean density of the Earth, Luca. It was not to find mass attracting mass.
That was
it's historically documented that he did not determine and he didn't determine the mean density of the Earth. There's the worst part. So they said, well, we got to use this shit for something.
Wasn't it the mass of the Earth, not the density?
No.
Yeah.
He was looking, that's what he was supposedly looking for, the mean density of the Earth. All right?
Yeah, but
nothing. They totally are using the experiment for some other bullshit. He didn't determine the mean density of Earth. He did not determine the gravitational constant. And he did not calculate the mass of the Earth.
He wanted to determine
he was
the density of the Earth.
He was a crackpot, dude. He was an eccentric crackpot, so afraid of taking his exam that he fled. He fled Cambridge because he feared taking the exam from these people.
He had a purpose, and that was to measure the force of the gravitational attraction.
No, that's not he was going after. Luke, I want you to read this. I'm sending you this. I'm sending you this.
He wanted to use this measurement to determine the Earth's density.
Okay. There you go. Read that document that I just posted in the private chat, and then get back to me with this. Okay.
Hold on. Can I get it? Can I finish this?
Well, I'm gonna show the rest of this video, and then I'm not gonna be on much longer because I want to get out here and check out this fire, make sure everybody's
okay.
So anyway, the continuation. We only got about another minute and a half to go on this. But there you go. There's your proof. 2024. There's what we're proving gravity with.
Well, it really is very difficult to get to work, and a technician has sawed it apart. So because he got so frustrated.
Let me back it up just a little bit.
I was waiting. Hold on. What did I say?
Listen to what he says. Listen.
To get to work, and a technician.
Very difficult to get to work, and a technician. Now, isn't an experiment supposed to be repeatable?
Yeah. Very hard to work doesn't mean not repeatable.
Well, wait a minute. So when it does work, it means it was set up correctly. But if it doesn't work, then it means it wasn't set up correctly. How does one determine if it's set up correctly? Surely, if it's not set up correctly, then one would not even bother to conduct the experiment. They would go, oh, this isn't set up correctly. And then they would correct that before doing the experiment, right? So it seems to me the only way to tell that if the experiment is not set up correctly is that it doesn't do what you thought it should do.
If you need to negate every possible variable that could affect it, like the wind and other masses being in the room. Once you've negated all
how are you regulating temperature?
like keeping it in a vacuum chamber or something.
Yeah, you can regulate temperature in a vacuum chamber.
Well, you can adjust the temperature.
Can you?
In your house, you can.
No outside influence or anything else like that. No.
You can turn off the aircon. You can close the windows.
And nobody's doing that, Luca. Nobody's doing that. Not for this janky fucking thing. Nobody's doing that. Bottom line is this, Luca. When they set it up, and if it does what they think it should do, then that means it was set up correctly.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then obviously it wasn't set up correctly. So you'd have to know that it was not set up correctly before you even conducted the experiment. Surely you would make all these checks and everything, right?
Well, tell you what.
It seems to me the determination as to whether it's set up correctly or not is whether or not it does what you thought it should do.
Tell you what. If you manage to remove all of those variables and it still doesn't work, then you have disproved gravity.
I don't wait. You got this all backwards. Okay. I don't have to disprove gravity. You understand? Because gravity's not been proven. Sorry. That's why it's called still the theory of gravity. Also, with this mass attracting mass bullshit was done out by Einstein. Bro, it's bending and warping of space-time now. You guys need to catch up. You're 100 years behind.
Can you give me a citation where it says gravity is a theory?
Yes, I can. Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind, March 21st, 2024, 11:26 p.m. Eastern Time.
Sorted apart, so because he got so frustrated. 18th century we're talking about, and he put that way round, and then it was pushed the other way, and you could then see the displacement. Moreover, you could measure the period of oscillation of this, and from that get all the properties of the wire, the torsional constant, and that enabled him to measure big G, the gravitational constant, to an accuracy of 1%.
Because every experiment has a margin of error. Yeah.
And nobody improved on that for 100 years. He didn't describe it as that. He described it as though he was weighing the Earth. He was calculating the mass of the Earth. So that when you're attracted to the Earth through gravity, it's the product of the mass of the Earth, this big gravitational constant divided by r squared, the radius of the Earth squared, which we normally know as acceleration due to gravity. And that
that's another problem too, because where the fuck did you get your R value from?
Well, the Earth had already been, the radius had already been measured by then.
Yeah, I know. Aristophanes and his faithful assistant Feces with their sticks and shadows. I know. I've heard that fucking story.
That's the best they had to go off of.
Listen. That's just a bedtime story for nerds. Okay.
Quantity is essentially big G, and he measured it, and nobody could do a clever experiment. So he's a father of physics, experimental physics, some of the ideas of theoretical physics.
So you
what a load of lead balls.
You know I am dumb, but at least
I don't think you're dumb. I don't think you're dumb. I think you're brainwashed.
At least I'm not mean, like, you know, at least you don't think I'm mean like the other guy that was.
No, I don't think you're mean. I think you're just really far led astray, Luca. I mean, even though you can be shown things and told things, and you can be shown that what your belief system is contrary to reality, and you still cling to it, you're heavily brainwashed. You're not able to entertain this. You've established these things because they've been beaten into your head. It's not your fault. Don't take it like it isn't. But it's this beat into everybody's head. This fucking gravity. It's the magic fucking seasoning that holds all the bullshit together.
There's no such thing.
Okay. And there again, postulated after the guy who postulated actually died and didn't want his name ascribed to this shit, Newton. He didn't even want this. A guy known for being fucking crazy and eating mercury. This is it. This is what we've got. This is what you're basing all this shit on, and there again, still a theory. Never been proven. And without actual proof of it at all, still just an assumption, because you use this acceleration. You want to ascribe this to other objects that you see that you have no way of examining and say, well, that I think that has this gravity too, and that's why this, that, and the other happens. That's ridiculous. It's a big, huge leap of faith without any real proof. And when you get right down to it, our most important, the most fundamental thing, I mean, your whole goddamn model revolves around fiery balls of fucking gas in a vacuum. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in the first place. I don't even know how you get a ball of gas under any condition. There's no way. Gas don't have any gravity to it. It doesn't have any, it doesn't draw itself together into a gob. It certainly doesn't start pushing in on itself and causing nuclear fusion. That's ridiculous. Sure. The only way that a gas can ever be in a volume is through containment. That's it. There is no other way. And until somebody can actually physically demonstrate that, or a downward acceleration of air, and I'm going to point out, I know y'all love your gradient. The gradient. Oh, the gradients. I know you guys love that shit, but you know, pressure gradient's not the only gradient we have going on here either. Think about it. You have temperature gradients, and people, what happens to different densities of gases as you increase? Do they all react exactly the same way to temperature increases and decreases? They behave in similar manners, but some react much, much more than others do at this very same temperature. And so we've got what's known as a dynamic system, But there again, this dynamic system could not exist without containment. I will remind people that the word pressure gradient, pressure being the adjective to describe what kind of gradient, so therefore must have containment, because without containment of a volume of gas, there is no pressure. Simple as that.
If a knife can cut through 5 tomatoes, then surely it can cut through 3 tomatoes.
I didn't understand you. Say it again.
If a knife can cut through 5 tomatoes, we don't actually need to test whether or not it can cut through 3 tomatoes, because it would kind of be pointless.
No, but those are tomatoes, right?
That's
what if you change the different things that you're cutting? We know that the knife cut things. Let's see. A knife will cut a melon. A knife will cut a lemon. A knife will cut a banana. A knife will cut your finger. A knife will cut meat. Will knife cut air? No. Wow. So there's something that we found that cannot be cut by a knife. Isn't that interesting? So not everything can be cut with a knife. Even though we are told that the air has mass and the air has matter, we still can't cut it. We can't really do anything. We can mix it up and we can stir it and we can blow it and we can suck it and we can move it around and fan it and wave it and all this other shit. We can heat it, we can cool it, but we sure as hell can't really cut it.
That's like taking a very small piece of paper and then throwing it up into the air and trying to slice it with a knife. You're probably not going to be able to hit it with the knife all of the time.
I can, because I have like ninja skills and shit, dude. I learned them from my good friend back here, something Wong. I ain't kidding, man. Watch. I'm gonna do. Listen, you don't believe I'm a ninja?
Very small.
Luca, you don't believe I'm a ninja? I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna show you right now, right here on camera. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm up here in the ISS. I am going to really quick do a somersault, roundhouse kick, and I'm going to land right back here in my chair so quick that you won't even be able to hardly tell I moved. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Did you see it?
Damn, I did, Dave. I seen it. I see her.
Pretty crazy. I kicked that can right off the top of your head too. See, you doubted my ninja skills, but you saw it right here on camera, folks. So
I have super speed. Want to that mountain
Right.
and back? Want to see me do it again?
So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing down here tonight. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. That's good enough for tonight.
This was entertaining.
We're gonna we'll get more into this tomorrow night, and I'm hoping to get. I was hoping Dawn DeSalt was supposed to come on tonight. I don't know what happened to her. We'll try her again next time. And I'm supposed to be on a debate on Jeranism with her and I going against Ozian and FTFE, and we're going to try to incorporate the debate forum that we had discussed earlier on previous episodes of this show. So we'll see how that goes.
Thank you for having me on.
Hey, no problem, Luca. You're a good guy. No, you're not mean. You're just brainwashed, man. We're going to fix you. We're going to get you. You're a flat earther screaming to get out. You're just in the closet. It's all, Luca. You're a flat earther in the closet. That's what it is. Yeah. I bet you Flatside would agree with me too, man. I know PJ would agree with me.
Yeah, well.
We know. We can tell. We have this inner sense.
We say the exact same thing about you guys, though.
Yeah, there's inside of you is a flat earther screaming to get out. We're gonna free him for you, Luca. We're gonna free that thing for you. So anyway,
okay, see you later.
We'll get into some more. I hope you all understand how that works with your field of view being cut off. I mean, you have a full field of view from your feet to the horizon, but at that horizon line, your field of view is now compromised from that portion down, and you don't see anything along anymore along that straight path, and things are going to get smaller as they go. That's of course going to give you and of course anything that's closer on the horizon than something further on the horizon, closer objects are going to block out further objects for the same reason as like this right here. But then you see what's happening now. I'm losing a whole bunch in my face because this little tiny thumb is closer to your view than it is to my head, right? But as I move it back, we get a truer perspective of it. See, so a little tiny, like a little tiny wave, you know, like it right there in the foreground, right just in the coming up on the horizon. It's going to, of course, change the horizon as it swells up and down. But it's also something that's way far off in the distance. It could be really huge. That little wave could block it, and you see it popping in and back out of you, and you're thinking, holy shit, look at that. It's rough seas all over that city, swallowing it up and shit. It's not. It's close waves in a far city. It's not hard. So anyway.
Who is with you?
Huh?
Who's that with you?
Oh, my friend Johnny's over here. We're going to go out and look at the fire here in just a few minutes. Yeah, my head is 93 million miles away.
Oh, hi, Johnny.
How's it going on, man?
Hey, good.
He's up here holding a gun to me, making sure I say the right stuff and shit. So, all right, guys. Hey, there he is. It's happening, Luca. See you later, buddy.
See ya.
All right.
Where's he from?
All right, until next time, everybody. Remember, Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey, and see your doctor and get rid of him. He'll probably kill you. We're going to go out, and I'll probably have some good pictures, maybe some video. We're about to go out and head down to an area where we can get a good view of it. I'm thinking probably up by Food Lion and Luray. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So we'll see y'all next time on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Until then, you have a great evening.